Okay, I'm Weiland. Today we're going to feature the last of our lessons from Guillermo del Toro's Pacific Rim, which, if you haven't already figured out, I absolutely loved. In the first video in the series, we talked a little bit about why I loved it, and specifically about how the movie was able to live up to every last bit of its potential. But there's more to it than that. This is an excellent bit of storytelling on many levels, but it's certainly not a perfect movie, even from an objective standpoint. But that does not matter. What matters is that Del Toro was somehow able to get those of his viewers who loved this movie to really love it. How did he inspire this fanaticism? I saw an interview in which he was asked what he would have thought of the movie had he seen it as a 12-year-old kid. Without missing a beat, he said, "My head would have exploded." And that, right there, is the key. We don't want to write stories that will just interest readers. We want to make their heads explode. We don't want them to just objectively love our great storycraft or our beautiful prose. We want them to fanatically, rabidly love every little bit of our stories, despite the flaws. Okay, so sounds good, right? But how do we do that? Well, number one, we follow Del Toro's lead and write a story that would make our heads explode. If you're not geeking out about your own story, that's a warning sign that something's wrong. We're all going to have days where we hate our stories, but generally speaking, we need to be unabashedly crazy about this thing we're writing. Beyond that, we can also take a more deliberate approach. When you sit down to outline or plan your story, take a moment to write a list. If you were an objective reader of this book, what kind of story would you want to read about? What kind of characters would you fall head over heels in love with? What kind of scenes would have you squealing and wriggling in your seat with excitement? You don't want to write stories that will just please readers. You want to write stories that are far beyond good enough. You want to make stories that will make heads explode all over the place.